Greetings, everyone. Good
Încă
morning.
nu.
Greetings, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are in the world, allow me to welcome you to the IIU platform, International Internship University. I'm Laura Stanciu. I'm a teacher from Romania, and I'm also Deputy Country Director of IIU and IIU Romania. Thank you for joining me today to learn more about creative teaching. But before we begin, let me tell you a few words about International Internship University and the amazing world of education and opportunities that it provides every single day for students and people from all around the world. International Internship University, IIU, is a leading virtual education system and global brand confederation, which is the most valuable and trusted worldwide and well-reputed in delivering innovative programs. Globally, it is a trusted name for quality training programs, and it is committed to providing better and virtual education to the young learners of the globe. In a short span of time, IIU has spread its wings in 195 countries and 6 continents under the strong leadership of its visionary founder, Mr. Piyush Pandit Sir, a committed and inspiring social activist, a passionate educationist from the last 2 decades, providing education to students from various social and cultural backgrounds. And now, allow me to share my point of view on creative teaching. First of all, I wish to express my heartfelt gratitude to IIU and Mr. Piyush Pandit Sir for giving me the chance to be here today and to express my views on a topic which is very close to my heart, creativity. Let me ask you, what is creativity and why do we need it as students, as teachers, and as inhabitants of this big and diverse and beautiful world? Evolution has always been linked to creativity, and that is why we know that there is no doubt that creativity is the most important human resource of all. Without creativity, there would be no progress, and we would be forever repeating the same patterns. What brought us here today was creativity, was the mind who dared to think outside the box. In the words of Albert Einstein, creativity is seeing what others see and thinking what no one else ever thought. Creativity is what allowed the first people in the world to invent the wheel. Innovation helped us build cities and travel the seas. Inspiration made the most stunning works of art, and new ideas and the ability to think outside the box brought us to the digital era, allowing us to unite countries and continents with the help of technology. For this reason, for enabling us to come up with new ideas and find innovative solutions, creativity is perhaps the most important skill of the 21st century. So why do we need creativity? As an educator, I believe that the classroom is the place where creativity is essential, both for students and for teachers. When they are creatively engaged, students are not just passively absorbing the information. They are exploring, discovering, looking for new ideas and solutions. They are communicating and collaborating with each other with an open mind. Creativity engages the mind in innovative ways. It opens up the doors of imagination. It enables us to absorb knowledge more easily. It motivates us to learn more. Creativity also helps problem solving. It enables alternative ways of thinking, and it builds confidence in making us less likely to be influenced by others. When we are creative, we are confident. It allows recognition of uniqueness and identity. Through creativity, we can manifest our true selves. In this way, it also enables empathy, and it helps us get to know the others by watching their creativity and sharing our creative ideas. It connects us to our passions and talents. It is also fun, enjoyable, and surprising. Through creativity, we can communicate beyond the limitation of words, because creativity gives us a voice, allowing us to express our feelings and emotions. And it also helps us stay young by challenging our minds. So there are so many reasons why we need creativity. Creative methods enable engagement through a variety of learning styles. Everyone learns and engages differently, and creativity is the best way to prepare the students for the challenges of the 21st century. Creativity in the classroom is very important. Lessons need to be creative in order for the students to understand them better. And we need to encourage students to show their creativity. If they have a special talent, they need to show it to the others. We need to empower them to reach their full potential. Educational methods focused on the development of creativity have an important role, both in the teaching learning assessment process and in defining the student's personality. One of the main ways to boost creativity is to encourage the exchange of ideas. Once the problem is exposed, the teacher should encourage the students to find alternative solutions, to present their ideas in a creative way, and to give them a personal meaning. Any process that results from novelty, either in the form of an idea, a creation, or even a reorganization of some elements, represents a creative activity. And this is why we need to involve the students in a creative way of learning, to give them the power to express their personality, to give meaning to the things they are learning. And in this way, they will achieve much better results. Creativity is considered a necessity of the modern educational process. And by encouraging the development of students' creative potential, the teacher must promote a way of learning that inspires discovery, research, and exploration. This is why the contemporary school has focused on educating creatively and creativity as a priority goal of the educational process. The atmosphere created in the classroom is one of the factors that greatly influences both the effectiveness of learning and the creation of a favorable climate for the educational process. An effective lesson must be both interactive and creative, and the role of the teacher is to encourage both learning and the manifestation of originality and creativity. Each student must be helped to discover the motivation to learn, the curiosity to learn new things, and must be guided to find the most productive way to accumulate knowledge and to present their own ideas. Because the learning process doesn't have to be just repetition, just acquiring some information. and never using creativity to give it a personal meaning. When we use our imagination, when we take the things that have been taught and give them a personal shape, the learning process begins to be more fun and, of course, better received by the learner. Creativity should exist in a smaller or greater degree in all the stages of a lesson. In selecting the creative methods that will be used, it is necessary for the teacher to take into account several factors, such as the subject in which the method is used, the age of the students, and their level of knowledge, so as to enable the reception of knowledge and to develop the creative capacity of imagination. A creative teaching method made through modern and innovative means, and whose purpose it is to stimulate the critical and analytical thinking of the students, will obtain much better and long-lasting results. A lesson in which the student is actively involved and in which the tasks outlined capitalize on his imagination and creative potential will attract him to the process of accumulating knowledge and will make him discover the pleasure of learning, because that's the ultimate goal of education, to make students attracted to the learning process, to make them learn for themselves because they have a purpose. And the purpose is life, to use that knowledge in order to have a good life and a good career. The didactic strategy must follow the development of creativity, and in this sense, several activities can be used. For example, stimulating curiosity and the need for knowledge through interesting and attractive topics, adapted to the student's interest. When the topic presented is something that attracts them, they will learn with a lot more pleasure and the results will be improved. Using brainstorming exercises to generate a large number of ideas to solve a problem. Brainstorming allows the class to communicate, to exchange ideas, and to see which one would be better. Rewarding students' creativity and inventiveness and creating a framework in which they can use their imagination to find solutions. Rewards are what motivates students, and not only students, we all like rewards. We all want our work to be rewarded with something. And the reward doesn't always have to be the grade. The reward can also be a fun activity, something that attracts the students. Providing students with learning activities that allow them to explore their creative potential in an interactive and relevant way is a great thing that we can do in the classroom, because creativity, as I've mentioned before, if it is used in a relevant way, it can help the learning process. Using a mind map or a graphic organizer to represent certain concepts and to help students identify connections between various elements also is a great way to develop creativity. It helps students to form connections and to find the relationship between different ideas. And one more idea, which is a great creativity development tool, is transdisciplinary approach that allows the formation of skills related to knowledge, communication, and interaction by understanding the connection between different school subjects. Whenever more than one school subject is taught, and when the students see the connections between them, it allows them to develop their brain, to develop their critical thinking and their creativity. Creativity and imagination are characteristics that should be integrated in every stage of the educational process. because they facilitate the process of learning and processing the information received, and at the same time help the harmonious development of the student's personality. Lessons should be designed to attract students, inspire them, and demonstrate the usefulness of the information they receive, instill in them a desire to discover more and to look for information. The ideal teacher teaches students how to think, how to analyze, and how to find solutions. The educational process must be oriented towards the extension of cognitive processes and aim at the development of the student's personality. The need to stimulate creativity should be encouraged from the preschool phase, from the phase when the children are youngest, when they first step inside a school or kindergarten. From the moment they take the first steps in life, they should be encouraged to think in a creative way. And the education system is responsible for ensuring an educational climate that motivates and encourages the use of imagination. The modeling of creativity, the flexibility of thinking, and the development of imagination and originality must be the basis for the design of the didactic act. A lesson in which, besides the notions to be taught, the teacher also brings games, inventiveness, and new ideas, becomes more dynamic and more attractive for students, and the performance obtained from them will be superior. Gamification is a great way to attract the young learners towards the subjects which are taught. The teacher needs to make sure that the content which is presented is brought to the students in an engaging and interactive way. And gamification is also a great way of assessing the students, because the assessment has to be made without the feeling that the student is under the lens of a microscope, or that there are fingers pointing at him while he's reciting the lesson. Through games and through alternative means of assessment, the student can feel that he is in control. And of course, the reward is the motivation that leads to action. What content or standards will be targeted and how will they be assessed? This is the first question that we need to ask ourselves as educators before we use gamification in the classroom. So first, we need to establish the content and the lessons which will be taught through the use of games. And there are so many games which are available right now and which can be integrated in the teaching process. So we need to find interesting and fun ways of connecting the classroom activities to all the stages of a game. We can allow students to reach certain levels. And this is a way of encouraging them to use their own skills. Allow them, give them the power to choose the things that they will do as part of a game. As I've said before, rewards are what motivates them. And the rewards can be the praise, maybe a badge, anything that attracts the student, even telling them that they have won the first prize. And in my opinion, all students should be motivated by rewards, such as prizes which should be given to all of them. For example, to motivate them and to attract them more to learning. For example, we can make up some prizes that are related to their special skills. If a student is good at painting, for example, we can give a special prize for painting. a special prize for giving the fastest answers or the best answers, or for playing the game right. There is no limit to what we can do. In a game, there are always characters. We can make students characters in the game. We can give them creative backstories, or we can allow them to create their own backstories. We can allow them to use their own gaming experience and to bring their knowledge to the classroom. Instead of using research, we can send the students on quests and make things competitive. And of course, a lesson like this turns learning into a memorable and enriching experience for them. Creativity is inventing, experimenting, growing, taking risks, breaking rules, making mistakes, and having fun. Yes, these things are all related to creativity, and this is what we must encourage. We must allow them to experiment and to see how far they can go in their learning process. Projects are a great way of doing that. And project-based learning is a powerful teaching method that has extensive benefits for students, ranging from critical thinking to project management or self-confidence. Project-based learning is linked to significant improvements in student test scores, attendance, and classroom engagement. It also gives teachers the opportunity to build stronger relationships with their students by acting as their hands-on learning facilitator. In essence, project-based learning is an instructional method where students collaborate with others and learn by doing. There are multiple benefits to learning through a project. Collaboration. Students learn how to work better in groups. They build positive relationships with teachers, their peers, and also with community members, gaining insight for careers and even beyond that. Problem solving. Students learn how to solve problems more effectively, including real community issues, even learning from failure and possibly starting over. Creativity. Students apply creative thinking skills to innovate new product designs and possibilities for projects. In-depth understanding. Students build on their research skills and deepen their learning of applied content beyond facts or memorization. Self-confidence. Students find their voice and learn to take pride in their work. Critical thinking. They learn to look at problems, they learn to ask questions and come up with possible solutions. They learn to be more perseverant when working on a project. They learn to manage obstacles more efficiently, often learning from failure and making adjustments, and in this process becoming better and better. Project management teaches students how to manage assignments more effectively. And of course, it empowers them to be curious. They get to explore their curiosities. They get to ask questions and form a new love for learning. And empowerment. They reflect on their progress and they celebrate all their accomplishments. And this does wonder for every student, for every learner who is struggling to show that he can do something. There are many ways in which we can apply creative ideas. One of them is to show them how to apply the learned knowledge in real life. Because often I have heard the questions from students, teacher, why are we learning this content? How is this going to help me in future life? And this is why we need to show them how they can use the knowledge in real life. For example, in mathematics, they need numbers in order to do even the most basic things like going shopping. They need books to help them develop their brain. They need to learn about history in order to know what was in the past and maybe predict the future. So give them the purpose for learning. Another way is to learn more about the people or events connected with the topic of the lesson. We can give the students a certain topic and ask them to find the details related to that topic. This is one of the methods called flipped classroom, allowing the students to find the information and then discussing with them that certain knowledge that they found. We can allow them to express their ideas through art. Maybe there are students who cannot explain the content of a lesson, or maybe they are shy, maybe they need help, maybe they need to be supported. Art is one way of helping those students express their ideas. We can also use role play. Role play is a great way of telling what they have learned through the voices of characters. For example, we can, if there is a book that they had to read, they can choose a role, a character in the book, and give that person a voice. They can have dialogues, they can make short plays, they can even write letters in the name of that character or to another character in the book. Role play can also be used with a history lesson. Choose a period of time and allow them to give a voice to those historic characters by using their imagination. I remember at one history lesson, the student had to make a castle, to build a castle using whichever materials they wanted, and then to explain what purpose each part of the castle had, who lived there, when it was built, what was its role in history, and everything they knew had to be connected with the castle. The lessons were amazing, and of course the students were very proud of their work. And they did this not as an assignment, not as something which causes stress, but with a lot of joy. And they kept looking at each other's castles and flags and whatever materials they used to decorate their creations. And they were extremely proud. It was one of the lessons that they will always remember. And the last thing on this list, but definitely there could be many more ideas, is to demonstrate the knowledge by using their own skills. As I've said before, all students are different, all students are unique, and they all have things that they are good at. We should give them the chance to express the knowledge that they have gained using their own skills. Maybe they want to write about it. Maybe they want to make an infographic. Maybe they want to paint the things they have learned and then explain. Maybe they want to create a poem, a letter, or maybe they want to write a song. I think that whichever way they choose, they should be encouraged, because this way we are connecting the learning process to a thing they like doing. And we should remember that we need to tell them that whatever they learn is going to help them in the future, because they are learning for life, because life is all about learning. Educators need to prepare students, not just for exams, but for the most important test of all, the test of life. And Of course, academic results are important because they are the steps on which students climb towards success and towards a career that will bring them professional satisfaction. But we also need to teach our students about kindness, about empathy, about resilience, and this is where emotional intelligence plays a crucial role. We need to teach them how to be responsible citizens, how to lead a life that would benefit the world as well as themselves. We need to teach them about digital skills. We need to teach them about sustainable development goals. We need to show them how to take care of the environment and how to lead a responsible way of life. In one of the projects that my school was part of, we gave the students the chance to prove their skills. It was a project about recycling, about taking care of the environment. And the students had classroom presentations, but they also did artwork. You can see here a painting made by one of the students in which she used bits of wood and glass to raise awareness about the importance of recycling. We made a school play about protecting the earth. They made drawings. They learned the connection between the environment and sustainable development goals. They wrote poems, and they even made a song which is on YouTube. All these activities helped them to show their skills and also to learn a lot. These are other activities that I use in my lessons. For example, each activity can be made into a contest, into a race. And in order to move forward in the race, like in any board game, the students have to give correct answers. Each correct answer moves them a bit forward, and the person who gives all the correct answers will win the race. This encourages them to be competitive, and of course is a lot of fun. Another exercise that I use is called the quest. To develop creativity, this is a great exercise. The students can be divided into groups to make this even more competitive. They will have to cooperate and find the best solutions, and each member of the group will at the same time monitor the details that provide the solution for overcoming obstacles and the correct use of grammatical forms and specific vocabulary. In the first stage of this activity, students are given a map that can be adapted according to the level of the class or the topic of the lessons. They must complete the route marked on the map, overcoming obstacles, and finally, they will treasure or the prize which is waiting for them. Obstacles will be presented in the form of a problem for which the students must obtain a logical solution that will be, of course, have to be set in a correct way. They must use their imagination. They must discuss possible options and negotiate and choose the final solution that will be communicated by the voice of the group. For example, on their map, there will be a river blocking their path. If you go around it, you will lose 5 days and your food supplies will run out. Find a solution to cross the river. They can ask questions. They can ask for details to help them. For example, could we swim across the river? And the other team could tell them that no, they couldn't do that because there are crocodiles. Are there trees near the river? Could we build a raft? And so on and so forth. With each valid solution, the students will gain more territory on the road and will get closer to the prize. This exercise can be adapted to suit any level, and it can be used to reinforce grammar and vocabulary, but also to help them find solutions for overcoming obstacles. It can be also the obstacles could be replaced, for example, with mathematical exercises or knowledge of biology or whatever subject can be used in order to be an obstacle on the map. Another exercise is storytelling. It is an interactive activity meant to stimulate students' creativity, and it can be used at different stages of the teaching scenario. It focuses on developing the ability to relate and identify a possible context starting from a picture. The students will receive a box containing several pictures of photographs, and the images are chosen randomly without the students looking at them. Then they will have to make a story based on the pictures that they have chosen. They can contribute to the story once or several times. And because it is an exercise which is adaptable to many types of activities, the teacher can establish from the beginning certain structures that will be used in compiling the story, especially if the level of the students is more advanced or if it is very low. Another exercise which I really like is the talking picture. It is again adaptive. It can be adapted to various levels of students. The teacher chooses an image which contains as many distinct and different elements as possible and presents it to the students, asking them to identify all the things present. These can be characters, but also objects or even elements of the environment, such as grass, clouds, or sunlight. The next step is to assign roles. Each student is assigned one of the elements on the board, and this can be done by voting based on personal characteristics that other students identify. And this would be an example. The students can vote for somebody. For example, Maria would be suitable for the role of the sun because of her warm and smiling nature. Tom could be the forest because he's concerned with protecting the environment. This way, we challenge students to look at their colleagues in a way that helps them find their positive qualities. This teaches empathy. This teaches them how to relate to one another. After the characters have been divided, the students have the task of describing the picture, taking turns in acting the role and arguing their presence and purpose in the painting. This can also be turned into a role-playing game. Another activity would be to describe a scene in a book by using all the senses: sight, smell, hearing, touch, taste. Imagining they are one of the characters, they have to say what they can see, what they can feel, if there is a certain smell, or if they can hear a certain sound around them. This helps them to develop their imagination, and it is a great exercise for creativity. We also need to tell our students that when they are answering a question, they have to think beyond the obvious. They have to keep an open mind, challenge their limits, and never think of a question as a closed one. And they have to think if there is only one answer. Of course, there are always yes and no questions, but we need to find answers that challenge our limits. In one of the tests that my class had, there was this question: what's your favorite color? And the student said teacher, this question is too easy for us. A question like this can only be answered with, my favorite color is red. And I told them, well, I need you to write 1 page answering this question. And then they started thinking. And I had the most creative compositions. They told me how the color is integrated in their room, if they wear that color, how that favorite color influences their personality, how they chose that color. This is why we need to push our students to think outside the box and to use their creativity to answer questions. Of course, there are many learning styles, many types of learners, and each learner is unique. Some learners need the help of graphs and flashcards because they are visual. Others rely on their hearing and they need to hear people explaining, and they need music. Others need hands-on and movement in order to understand and to connect the knowledge with a certain physical activity. Others need to express their thoughts by presenting or writing. Others are logical and they need patterns and statistics. The ones which have very well developed social skills need collaboration and teamwork, while others are independent and they need individual work. This is why we need to adapt our lessons to all these types of learners, give them the ability to choose the way in which they will express the things they learn. Creativity and imagination are essential skills that play a vital role in the whole educational process at all ages. Each student has a creative potential, and the role of the teacher is to discover it, to give him the chance to manifest his personality and curiosity. Stimulating creativity encourages students' desire to learn and improve continually for lifelong learning. Remember that teachers can bring the change. Teachers can be creative, and we need to let our students be creative and to allow them the chance to be themselves. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for giving me the chance to be here today and to express my views on creative teaching. Be as creative as you can, because creativity is a great way of learning. Thank you so much for your attention.